You didn't record my song.
Here we go. You want to give it to him again, hun?
Doop-a-da-ba-dee-bo. I just pissed out my pee hole. Doop-a-da-ba-dee-bo. I just pissed out my pee hole.
She was just doing that for like 20, 30 seconds straight, and I was just trying to get this episode going on a roll. Get it rolling.
Every time I go to the bathroom, I make a song about it.
It's true.
All different songs. So
It's true.
it seems gross out of nowhere, out of context. But for those who live with me, it's informative.
That is
Quite
me.
informative.
I am the one that lives with you. This is a big one, Nuts. This is a big one. This is episode 90. 90 of A Couple of Nuts Talking the podcast.
Dang, 369. Those
All right.
are our numbers.
Let's shoot in the theme song.
Let's go.
Bethany
Bethany
and Sean.
and Sean.
We are a couple of nuts talking.
Talking to a couple of nuts. Talking to a couple of nuts. We're talking to a couple of nuts.
Talking. Deep dop-a-doop-bo.
Okay. God, listen to us like fucking Tweedledee and Tweedledum over here.
You are the dumb. I'm the D.
Fucking just bouncing off like a fucking dumb doo-doo heads.
It's so early in the morning, and we're like, let's do it. Let's
Hey,
get
this is
something.
a early, yeah, you guys listen to this whenever you want, but you could probably tell by the sultriness of my voice at the moment. We're doing this a little early.
Your
in
voice
the
completely
morning.
changed from what you were using before.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is exactly how I open the episode, and this is how I will talk during the entire
baby.
episode. This
Little
is just
Puss is up.
natural. Good morning, Puss. Good to see you. Puss is our calico cat, and then we have Cookie, who is our other cat, who kind
Stop it. I don't like it.
She resembles a Siamese cat, which she's laying
just-
under the table. Oh man,
Staring
why
at
do our
us.
cats look like that?
What do you mean?
We've got to have some cat people out there. One of our cats, they're sisters, same litter. One's a calico, one's clearly like a Siamese blend.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Apparently, every color that the mom and dad are, the cat can come out like. They could come out in a mixture, or they could come out only one.
That's like living color. Coats of
Stop.
personality.
I can't with that song. That sounds like my piss song. Beedle-doo-boo-doo.
You don't even
I just
remember
pissed
how it went.
out my pee hole. No, because I make up
You
a
don't
different
even
song
remember.
every time.
Whoa, Nuts. 90 episodes. Jeez. I wonder if there's anybody listening that's listened to every single one besides us. We've listened to every single one.
I have not listened to every single one.
Sure you have.
need to speak for yourself.
I have.
I know you have. I only listen when
I
we're in
have
the
to.
car and you ask to put it on.
I have to listen to every single
Yeah.
one.
I know.
So it's like, I am, I guess, the one that's listened to everyone.
I am one. Do you know what's funny? When I meditate, I start with that.
I am
So
one.
I am one. So I remember that, like, I'm trying to connect to oneness and to God. And I go, I am one. And
Like
then,
the Smashing Pumpkins song?
yeah.
We meditate in this house, Nuts. We talked about that before. I don't know.
I don't think so.
We meditate in this. I think we have. But we'll talk about it again.
I think we've evolved, even if we did after 90 episodes.
We meditate in this house. I got really into meditation when I got sober. Prior to that, I never really meditated before. I just did drugs, which I thought was a form of meditation.
Yeah.
I thought it was spiritual to trip out because I thought I was connected, which I was. When I would take like acid and stuff like that, I definitely connected to nature on a different level than I ever had before. I was breathing with it.
Have you ever seen anything when you were on acid? Like, because, you know, they're showing more so with mushrooms and stuff like that.
Right.
But they're saying certain drugs and acid is included, that you go to like another dimension, or you're able to see, even though you're in this plane, you get to see the other dimension.
So I did acid a lot, like every weekend for my senior year in high school. Me and a bud.
Gosh.
Me and a bud were dropping tabs of acid. And sometimes we'd get our hands on some just straight liquid acid. The most
Straight to the blood. Straight to the blood.
Straight to the blood. The most visual thing, there was one time where I tripped and it was so good. Oh man, I was so high. It was incredible. Oh, but it's recommended not to look at yourself when you're on like a hallucinogen. And I went in the bathroom, and I
know.
did, and I did. I stared in the mirror, and I started like making faces. I was like, ah,
See,
like
that's-
open my mouth.
That's
My face
interesting.
turned into the. It didn't really, but it really looked like the Scream mask face. Like it got really elongated, and my mouth got really wide. And that fucking freaked me out, and I got a little nauseous. So luckily, I was in the bathroom, and the toilet was right there. So I went like,
When you threw up?
and then I went over, and I kind of gagged a little bit because I was so freaked out by my own face. And then on the back of my,
See, that to me, if you're that freaked out that it caused you to vomit,
it wasn't. It
you're
was all.
hitting like a subconscious.
It could be, or it's just I just went, and it was my own face, and I wasn't that freaked out. I just did a quick gag because you also get nauseous on it. So I think it was a mixture of everything.
Yeah.
I wasn't like that scared. It was more funny than anything and spooky. But I got the gag, and I went over to the toilet, and it was in my buddy's house, and in like on the porcelain part towards the back side of the porcelain, there was something on there. Which I don't know if it was bacteria or what, or it was just specks of dust.
Poopy.
Maybe it was poopy, but it started to like move around and dance. Like I was watching it go like,
see.
it looked like there was like a thing of water on top
Or
of
maybe
it.
it was
Like
parasites.
I think it was something like that, bacteria. Or I was seeing it actually move
Yeah.
because it is moving. We just can't see it.
It's always,
with the naked
everything's
eye.
always moving.
So
Well-
that was. I've seen some other stuff too, but nothing ever like a monster or a dinosaur come breaking through the
Well,
fucking
definitely
ground.
not a dinosaur. I was talking more
know what I
like,
mean.
like, the black figures or the,
No, I
or
only
even
saw
the
that. I
white
saw that when I
figures.
was dying.
yeah. What, just, I got like inspired when you were talking because I heard a word that I thought is really interesting. And I always know from my studies of words that we use them for a reason. And when you said I was tripping,
Yeah,
that to me,
that's what they call it.
I know. And that's to me, for whatever reason, this time when you said it, I was like, you're tripping out of this reality. And you are like tripping or skipping into another one.
Oh yeah, you
And-
definitely are.
Yeah. And
I
that,
highly recommend it at least once.
well, then baby's got to guide me through it.
Yeah, you might. I don't know, because you're so sensitive. I don't know if you would benefit from it or because things scare you, like abrupt, loud noises. Like if you did it here and one of those cars drive by, that might send you spiraling and you may never come back. So if we were to do it, we would have to go Joshua Tree, somewhere quiet, but then you might trip it on how we're all alone in the dark. It's
Yeah.
really hard. It's really easy to lose control of your thoughts, especially when you're on something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that would be for you.
Am I more like ayahuasca?
See, I've never done ayahuasca, so I don't know.
I know, but apparently it's like
I heard
a
that's like-
spiritual.
Oh, I heard that's like the worst.
Oh, really?
I heard like you straight up violently throw up on that.
Oh, yeah. No, that's why I won't do it.
Yeah, because you'll think
Because-
you'll think you're gonna throw your insides up. You're like,
Right.
my intestines are gonna come out.
Right. Like I've already gotten over that fear, but I feel like
I used
yeah.
to think that, babe. Did I ever tell you that when I was drinking really heavily? And this is when I was working. This is my early to mid 20s. I was drinking.
So basically, what I was saying, we're just gonna scratch it.
I was
Got
drinking
it.
so much that throwing up was normal for me. It was just a normal thing. Just
Yeah.
bleh, let's keep going.
That's how my aunt was.
And I used to have thoughts when I was at my office job. I would think to myself, what if I just stood up and just all of my intestines just, I just stood there bleeding like a zombie, looking at everybody, throwing up all of my intestines. Because that's what it felt like when I was drinking and hung over a lot. So and then you have to understand, that's why I continued to drink throughout the day, honey. It's called the hair of the dog, and you don't want to feel hungover. You don't want to feel that uncomfortableness. So what I would do is I would just continue to drink. So I would drink all night. You with me here? And then I would have a beer in the morning in the shower, and then I'd start to, and then during my first break at work, I would head over to the liquor store and I'd buy some vodka Red Bull, and then I'd just drink And then for lunch, I would drink more from the bottle of vodka. And then I got, next thing you know, time to go home. And what do you do when you get home after a long, hard day of work? You drink. So drink, 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 and it was just never ending for me.
Okay.
I'm glad you asked that question. It's
I
a
didn't
good question,
ask
honey.
anything. I was actually talking about something else.
Episode 90, off to a fucking fiery start. We're banging it out on all fucking cylinders. Ya boy, ya girl, coming to you live.
Okay, are you done?
This is interesting, not eating anything and drinking coffee and doing the podcast. I think I like it. Do you hear the difference, the way I'm talking? The amount that I'm talking?
Yeah, but I know there's going to be a moment
where I just crash
where
and hit
you
a
just
wall.
crash and
It's
you
coming.
get angry
It's coming.
at me.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Stop it.
It's because of that coffee, man.
Wait a minute. And it was the, so tripping, hallucinating.
I was just saying, you go into another dimension.
You do.
And
Oh, did I tell you about the time when we were the same guy that I would trip with? We would do it
Yeah.
on the weekend. We were at his house again, and it was a cloudy night. First off, we had our hoodie sweatshirts on, so we walked outside and we were pulling our hoods down real tight over our sides of our heads, and we were just looking at each other. Then we started walking like really wobbly like, but in a circle, just staring right at each other.
you know what's weird? I did all this stuff, but not
Yes,
tripping.
this is stuff that you do. This is stuff that you would normally do, but when you do
Yeah.
a fucking acid,
Yeah.
it's like next level.
Of course. Yeah.
So we had a blast. We were staring. I don't even know how long we were walking in circles, staring at each other. And then we wound up on his roof, and it was cloudy. Maybe this was at my house. But anyways, the clouds started coming down real low to us. Like we were like almost calling them towards us. Like they started circling. Obviously, I was tripping out. They were circling, and they were coming
Maybe.
down low to where I could have like put my hand in the cloud.
Here's the thing. This is what I mean. Perhaps you are negating the belief system that
Well-
you have that keeps you from your subconscious.
So the deal, not that I know too much about the history of LSD, but there was the guy Timothy Leary who kind
Right.
of invented it, who the government went after supposedly because when people did take LSD, it completely or almost opened up their third eye. So they
Not
could,
almost. It did.
right, like you could see shit and possibly do shit with your mind,
And you
move
repro-
shit,
right,
control
you
shit. Like maybe I
reprogram your
controlled the
mind.
clouds when they came
That's-
down.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think you're like, oh, I'm tripping. But this is why they use the words they do.
Right.
Because they don't want you to know that you have a power. We all do.
So that was a different.
We don't even have to trip to do it. We just have to know we can.
That was a different acid back then too, so they probably
Oh, they've changed that. It's all
Just
chemical.
like
Now
weed.
it's a synthetic of what once was.
they dumbed it down. And then there's the MDMA and all that crap.
What's the one where everyone's taking and they're seeing like the actual code? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like they're like in lasers, you can actually, when you're on it, see the numeric code like in the Matrix.
Isn't that MDMA they were saying?
I think so.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but people are absolutely seeing things they were not able to see. And here's what's interesting, because now we have the internet, right? When people were tripping on LSD, we didn't have any of that. Maybe a phone. I mean, we did have a phone. I was kidding, but
We didn't have I mean, the internet was there, but it wasn't
no,
like.
no. I'm not saying the internet. I'm saying the phone. Like I was joking. Like maybe a phone. In other words, you called somebody. But what I'm saying is because we have the internet now, people share what they see.
Oh yeah.
And people are noticing you're all seeing the same thing. And
Yeah,
to
why
me, that's an impossibility unless wherever you go exists.
Why is there not more footage of people tripping out?
Oh, I think they clear. Do you remember seeing a few of those videos on like TikTok? I remember showing you one where I was like, "Oh, they're tripping out," and they were able
Yeah,
to
I
show.
saw it.
Yeah,
I showed
they're
you
gone.
that. I showed you that.
No, you didn't.
It's like you forget that I'm the one that woke you up, honey. I'm the one that
Oh
opened
my
your mind to
God,
the
I can't
world
with
that you
you.
didn't know existed within the world. You woke up for awakening.
You forget that I saved your life.
You did. And in return, I bestowed and
just so
gifted
you know,
you
No.
the great awakening.
Do you know what I think you opened my eyes like one eye where I'm squinting and I just wake up. Yes, you helped me do that for sure.
Oh, honey
But
bunny.
as far as these
Honey bunny.
as don't We'll talk about that after. But as far as the wide-eyed thing, that's been over time because I had no idea I was such a researcher. Like, I had no idea.
You go way down the rabbit holes.
I
So I
do.
like to think I provided you the bushy tail, and you're giving yourself the wide eye. I opened your eyes.
No, you poked me in the eye, and my eye got mad.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
And I said, "Oh, I can open these without being poked in the eye."
Okay.
And then everything caught my eye.
Really hit that P on the
The
poke.
poke, yeah, I like
really
it.
get that in there.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, of course, I'm grateful. I mean, I think it would have happened anyways. Everything.
Definitely not.
The
Not the
truth
people that
has
you
to
were
come
running
out.
with before you met me. Definitely not. That would have never. You would have been actually, I think, opposite. You would have been even more in the Matrix.
No, I don't think so.
With the crew that you were running with, honey, that don't talk to
No.
us anymore. Absolutely.
But you have to understand how much I push back on everybody. So it's not like that. I think I would have found my people no matter what. But I also think that it didn't interest me. Like, I didn't know I would be interested in these things because I didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
And then, but I've always been into things that I didn't know. Like, I'm trying to think of some now, but I remember, like, I don't know, because right now, maybe because you guys, I really feel like, and if anyone knows any answers for this, like, my brain doesn't work. And not, this isn't a new thing.
Your brain's working just fine, honey. You're talking now. I have a hard
No,
time.
I
It's
feel like
putting
I
together
can't pull up.
sentences and information.
That's the thing. I know the loaded information I have in my head. And then when I go to speak it, it's like,
Well, the type of
it's
stuff that
like
we're
doesn't exist anymore. Like, I can't pull it and make it come out of my mouth.
It's just because the type of stuff that we're talking about here needs probably a little more preparation
And a lot of filter.
or you need to talk about it more often so you know how to talk about it. Because I forget, because when I try to have a conversation with people about shit that's not like the norm, say like I tell someone I think the earth is flat.
Right.
Like I remember all the stuff that I've learned
Right.
over time, and it comes in little bits, and like so as long as they're around me for a couple hours, I can say, oh, and there's this,
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
minutes later, but in one sitting, it's hard for me to get it all out in like a what's that word?
A timeline.
No, like that flows.
Linear?
Linear, I guess.
Yeah.
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 Conversation.
Yeah. I feel like I have so much information in my head that it's the organization and then where do I start? Also, I think because I am constantly pushed back on. Like, with all my beliefs, I mean, no matter where I'm at, because, I mean, we also live in LA, but no matter where I'm at or who I'm talking to, unless it's you or very few other people, when I say few, I mean maybe one or two other people, all I'm getting is, no, absolutely not. That's crazy.
The majority of
Da-da-da-da-da.
people that and this isn't a dig on anybody, we love our friends. The majority of people that we know or talk to still don't think how we think.
No.
They have different views on things than we do.
And it is like walking around feeling as though I feel like I have a piece of tape over my mouth. Most of the time I'm living outside of our home.
Yeah.
And it's not out of fear. It's not out of anything. At this point, it's just easier because I don't like to talk about the weather or all that stupid menial stuff that doesn't matter. I'll never walk up into a conversation and within 30 seconds, we're not talking about something deep.
Well, we're in the lion's den, so you don't know the reaction you're going to get. We're in LA, so we're surrounded by artsy, and we're artists. Like but if for some reason, if you bring up something like the earth is flat, people have this reaction to it. It's borderline.
Like, they gotta defend it.
It's borderline violent. Like you could see,
Yeah.
like an anger, something happens in their heads.
Let's
Not
use
everybody.
This one.
Not
Let's
everybody.
use this one. This is a great one because to me, like, people just immediately judge you and think you're stupid. because they've been trained to, they've been programmed to.
Mm-hmm.
And
we thought the same thing at one point.
that's the beauty of this that people don't get, is that Sean and I were not born thinking the earth was flat. In fact, we were indoctrinated just like everybody else. And we went in it. I remember because Sean, I think you mentioned it, right, to me?
I mentioned it to you, and then you even said you thought about breaking up with me when I brought it up.
Like, I mean, I was joking in the moment.
And I wasn't even saying, like, I didn't say I think the earth is flat. I said,
know.
I don't know if it is or not. That was what I said
right,
to
and
you.
I remember we were in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and I said, you don't know?
Right.
And then I was like, okay, and we were like laughing, joking about it.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I never thought about it.
Right.
I never like
Neither
sat
did
down-
I.
Right, because we are taught in a way where this is it. This, like, I mean, really think about this, you guys. We are put in basically an institution, a very ugly institution. Maybe if you went to private, amazing school. I even went to a Catholic private school, and it still looked like an institution on the inside.
Did you wear the little outfit?
I did.
Hold on.
No,
real quick.
Let me just finish,
Okay.
please. But just write that down that you want to talk about that. I'll definitely talk about Catholic school. But everything looks like an institution. It's just 4 90-degree angles in a room with everything looking the same. I mean, yeah, and even in that school, everyone looked exactly the same. We all had the same clothes on. And there's this person who stands in front that we are programmed to just go, whatever they say is golden. It is the rule. It is almost like they're all knowing. And we are at that time, we are just sponges. We are so capable of learning.
Well, you
so
don't know.
much.
That's why your parent, you don't view them as, you're not viewing this teacher or your parents as a hurt little kid like they really are. You view them as like some
An authority.
sort of authority figure.
And this is the way we've been programmed on purpose. Now, those authorities, I'm using quotes with my fingers, are then and have been put through the same process we are, but earlier. And somebody's are we're not getting into that whole thing, are deciding the books we read, who writes the books and what's in them. And, there's a reason it's called history. And that goes with everything. English, math, all of these things.
Wait a minute.
What?
It's his story, because there's not two. Is there two S's?
No, but it's the way you say it. History.
And
let me tell you who writes history. The people who win. Always.
Yeah.
So, or the people in power. So now we're thinking, okay, we are getting handed books that we trust are what we need to learn and the truth.
Yeah.
And then these people just regurgitate by memorization, not by experience,
Right.
not
Just
by
other books that they read,
right.
that they were taught.
They're not doing any other research. There's not other, this book might be better. No. Or why is this? And we are also trained by trade in school to not ask questions. You don't ask. There is no debate on things. There is no, in fact, debates, how much less are we debating in school than we used to?
Right.
Because
know.
that's an art form.
I haven't been to school in a long time, so I
Right.
don't know.
Well, I'll just let you know that all the because I coach a form of a couple games of debate in my group
Yeah.
to help with out-of-box thinking and to get in our voices and all the things that I do aside from the other things I do. And I will tell you that I will get out of 100 clients, maybe 3 clients who've ever debated before in school or college or high school or anything like that. 3 out of 100. And that might even be a big number because I'm trying to think of, it doesn't matter.
I didn't
digress.
realize how much, because I listen to debates now. I didn't realize like how technical debating.
Oh, yeah,
actually,
it's an art form.
Like you have to. It'll get to a point where actually you'll have to explain almost each word that's coming out of your mouth. Like, what do you mean? So what's the definition of this?
Right, so that we're on the same plane.
Right.
If
Just a level.
look,
yeah.
Here's a perfect example. Guilt and shame. Guilt and shame aren't emotions. What they are programmed emotions. In other words, people teach you. So, baby,
Yeah.
when you say, I feel guilty or shame, I'm sure in recovery you have worked on this, correct?
Yeah.
If I were to ask you your definition of, I'll just take one, say shame.
Yeah.
It was taught to you by your parents.
Yeah.
Your parents taught you what shame looked like, because shame, if you walk up to a 3-year-old and go, do you feel shameful? How do you feel?
Right.
Right.
But when you first think of the
they
word,
don't know.
when I first think of the word shame, I'm like, I'm ashamed that I did this, or I
Correct.
did that, or I'm ashamed that I think this way. I don't think about the root of where the shame started.
Well, right. But you also have to understand you've been programmed for what your shame
Right.
definition is.
Right.
In other words, you could sit down and go, I feel shameful that I did this. And then I can sit down and go, I feel shameful for this. And our idea of shame is completely different because we were taught from different families. And our families were taught by their families and so on. So those types of things is why when you go into a debate, if you have two completely different ideas of the definition you're talking about, you're screwed out the gate. There's no way to have a proper, even, fair discussion. So it's good to put on the table all the words that potentially could be misleading
Yeah.
or have misinterpreted. So that's that. But back to my point.
Oh no.
Is we have these authorities that stand up called teachers. They are all also programmed and gone through the same institutions we have. There are, I don't even know if people know this, but there are only the books that they're given are the books that they're going to use. There is no going in going, I'd like to use this, but no. No.
Can you get back to this? Because I have to go poop really quick.
We'll just pause it and I'll come back to
I
it.
can't hold it anymore.
Go poo.
Okay, God, I felt that was
All right, he's done.
my poor butthole.
But just know there is literature that they have to choose from. It's what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's approved.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you have to do. So even if you go, oh, I had a choice. Okay, you had a choice between a book that they gave you of choices. You cannot stray from that. It is, and you'll notice that all the books are made by the same couple of publishers and the same couple of authors, and they're years and years and years old. So anyway, so there's that component to it. Now, by the way, I'd also like to preface, I am not bagging on teachers. I love that we have people who want to help children.
Have you seen the
and
teachers
educate.
lately?
Okay, but as an
Man.
umbrella over teachers, I am not at all trying to disgrace the name or what you bring.
I wanted to be a teacher for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I wanted to teach the stuff that I was into. Yeah, I mean, I look at what I do now. That's kind
I
of.
wanted to do it just because they get to work and then they get the summer
Right.
off and then they get all those holidays off and they get paid really well.
I
and
mean,
they
it
get
really is
good.
a cush job.
Oh
yeah,
my
it's a
God.
great job.
You hang out in your high school.
And then you get
forever.
tenure, and you're just
Oh,
set for life.
get
Okay,
out of here.
so but hold on, let's not. That's a whole nother subject. So, anyways, once you realize Cookie loves this
Oh my
subject.
gosh, Cookie.
It's because I was throwing the ball. With
Reel
her.
it in.
We were playing catch.
Okay.
So while you were pooping, we were playing catch.
I know.
So, and now she wants attention. Okay, I see you. Okay. Anyways, once you start to wrap your head around, because by the way, never even thought of that. Never in a million years did I sit down, or was I encouraged to sit down on how tightly knit our system is to control what it is our brain ingests and what
The
it doesn't.
narrative.
Correct. So we are getting only what's on the menu because the menu is very controlled. And once I realized that, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
All of us could be learning garbly-gook.
Yeah.
But I'll give you for instance, and I use this example a lot. I dated a guy who thought windshield wipers were called swipey wipies.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes, honey. Swipey wipies.
I'm not mad at that.
And he said to
Oh,
me
oh.
while we were driving one day,
Hey,
He why don't you said,
put on a swipey
put the swipey wipies on. And I said, what did you just call them? And he goes, swipey wipies. They're called swipey wipies. I said, no, they're called windshield wipers.
Yeah.
Is that like a nickname you've given them?
Yeah.
No, they're called swipey wipies.
Where was he from?
Here.
Oh, L.A.?
L.A. A unicorn born and raised.
Swipey wipies.
And I said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You're of a certain age.
Yeah.
You should not be calling them swipey wipies unless you think it's cute and funny or whatever.
Yeah, I do. I like that.
I did. I mean, I'm not mad at it if you're just like, turn on the swipey wipies, and
Yeah.
that's your thing.
Yeah.
But do we also agree that it's called windshield wipers?
Oh, it's starting to come down on there. Why don't you turn on the swipey wipies?
Right. Exact. Like that. Like
Yeah.
a grown man saying that.
Yeah.
And so I had to dig further.
Whoa.
And I said, so you are 100%. I'm confirming you believe they're really called swipey. Yes, I do. Fantastic. So I went to his mother.
Yeah.
And I said, and this is fantastic. This was over a dinner with more than just us. And I said, oh, because I just thought of it. And I said, what do you call in the car the things that wipe your windshield when it rains? And she goes, windshield wipers. And I go, okay.
Yeah.
I go, well, your son thinks you taught him that these are called swipey wipies.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
And she started laughing and she goes, I know, I just thought it was so cute and I didn't want him to stop doing it. So I just told him they were real.
Wow.
And there's a crow up there. We should talk to it.
Swipey
Wipies.
wipies.
Now, half of us started laughing because
Yeah.
that was hilarious. Half of the people, because also he had a sister who, guess what? Also thought they were called swipey wipies.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm dealing with two adults who think that, but not to their detriment. I mean, obviously to their detriment because they're walking around. Who knows, by the way, who knows what else this lady has imposed on these children when they were young
Yeah.
that are lies.
Now,
And
did she impose
can I tell
it?
you a lot?
Did she impose it, or did they just come up with it
They
and then she
came up
didn't
with
change it?
Correct. So they came up with it.
That's not really imposing it. That's just not.
Oh, it is when you say that it is the definition. That's what they are. They
Oh.
are swipey wipies.
Oh.
You're right.
So she did do
Oh,
that.
swipey.
Okay.
And then she called them swipey wipies in front of them.
Yeah.
But see, when she was out in front of other people,
Windshield wipers.
windshield wipers.
Yeah.
So, but my point to this is not to dig on that family because who cares? Whatever. It is to show how, as children, we will ingest anything someone we love or
Yeah.
we respect or we're told to respect.
You still
Tell
struggle
us.
with that sometimes when I try to do something or if I'm cooking something or I'm cooking a certain way, you think there's a certain way that it has to be done because of what how mom used to do it or dad
Mhm.
used to do it. But I try to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way just because your mother did it that way.
Yeah, I think with cooking it's different. So come up with something else because here's why.
I can't think of it off the
Cooking,
top
if
of
we
my
want
head.
it to taste that way, then we have to do it that way.
Yeah, but no. It's also stuff just like driving wise or normal stuff out in the world that you've done that before, and I've been like, no. But I can't think of anything off the top
write
of
them
my
down.
head.
I would like to know what that is.
Was it you that questioned me when because I call the turn signal an indicator.
That wasn't me.
Somebody questioned me when I was driving, and somebody didn't use their indicator in front of me. I was like, "Oh, you don't even use the indicator." Then they were like, "What did you call it?" I was like, "The turning indicator.
Yeah.
It's the indicator, the
That's what it's
signal,
called.
turning signal to let you know which way they're going to go." And they had never heard indicator before.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, if we all grew up and were told that green is purple, then we would all just be calling purple green. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, that's just the
The
way it is.
sky's green, right?
Right. So my point to this is, I guess I have several points,
Yeah.
but we cannot, like, if we're going to debate this, we cannot deny that, and I feel like I've just proven it, that we are entrusting these other folks that they have given us the information that is accurate and the truth. But they are only coming from where they were taught. And if wherever the origin is, ground zero of who started teaching this,
Yeah.
they're the only ones who know what the truth is. And we, like I said, we are not taught to think freely with logical mind and have debates and ask questions and go, hey, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember me telling you the story where I would, with my family, I would play when we'd have like big family gatherings. I would do this all the time. You got $1? Great. I got $1. And we would put the dollars down and I would say, what's 1 times 1? And they would say 1. And I'd go, great. And I'd walk away with an extra $1. Right?
Criminal.
Because how does that work? If I have $2 that I'm multiplying,
Yeah.
but you tell me the answer is 1, fantastic. 1's for me. And then we just keep going. I
always thought there was some money missing from my wallet from time to time. Now I know.
It's from your
You probably look there
drug
in the middle of the
abuse.
night. You go like, "What's 1 times 1? Oh, 1. I'll just take this then. Thank you."
But how in multiplication when you're multiplying? So do we see how like there are other ways you can be thinking of things? So let's go back to why I was explaining this, and that was to go with geocentrism, which is what now they call it flat Earth to minimize and to, start basically propaganda about it. Like they have a lot of things. If you look up flat Earth, you're going to get the propaganda of flat Earth.
Yeah.
You're not going
Or
to
just
get
stuff making fun of and against.
That's what I
flat
mean.
Earth.
Like things
yeah.
to negate it and made up stuff to make it look stupid.
Yeah.
Now, when Sean brought this up to me, you can't bring stuff up to me and I not research it. I gotta. Like, if it's interesting, I gotta be like, wait, is that right? So
I thought about it too, and I remember because I remember bringing it up,
it was in the kitchen.
and I remember thinking about if I should bring it up or not, and I don't know why I did, but I just did.
I love that you did, and I mean, maybe because it was such a long time ago, but I hope now you can bring up anything. Like, we talk about everything.
This was, a couple years into our relationship that I brought it up.
Yeah. So like
It wasn't
7
like
years
right
ago.
out. It wasn't like right out the gate.
Yeah. And anyway, so Sean brought this up. I at first was like, you're crazy. We were laughing. And you're like, I don't know. And I was like, yeah.
And
But
then you're like, I don't know if I could be with you anymore if you really think that.
And then I instantly went to this thought. I said, well, I'll have to show him. I'll have to prove it to him. And you guys, I'm not kidding. The moment I started to try to prove to him that the earth was a globe was every second I realized none of the math was mathing.
Yeah.
And none of the things we were told was working out. And I'm using their formulas and I'm using their logic. And things are easily negated. I'm talking right in your face. You can negate it.
Yeah.
And as simple as when you look over the ocean and you see the boat disappearing, right? Because people say that it's arcing down.
It has
so
to,
far
yeah,
away.
if it's a ball.
And then you get a Nikon 900 and you zoom in and guess what?
Yeah.
That boat's still there and there is no drop off. And they go such a distance that using the formula of the globe, there should be 50, 100, a huge drop in the arc. And you shouldn't be able to see that boat, but you can. That's just one thing. Let's not even discuss the logical stuff like water adhering to something upside down.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then people say gravity. Okay, we'll look it up. It's a theory and it's actually been disproved. And people are disproving it all the time. Let's look at a butterfly, right? As you trip and fall and you think gravity knocks you down, and then a little butterfly just goes boop, 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 weighs so much like a gram. You know what I mean? So look, I'm not even saying, because Sean and I come from we've been doing this so long that I also am not going to say I 100% know that the earth is flat. But what I am more sure of is that the earth isn't a globe at this point.
I was just thinking, if I had died during this podcast, it was being recorded and stuff like that, be sure to release it, okay?
I don't know how, but I'll get somebody to do it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
why?
Because you'll freak out. So, because I was sitting here, my eyes, because I'm so hungry, and my eyes were starting to close, and I was just like, what if I die? And while we're recording, and I was like, you need to release this, even if I die.
You just needed to tell me that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm interested on what people think about this.
Nobody's going to respond to anything, honey, but it's very cute that you say that every time.
You
you
don't
guys,
know one day.
You guys probably didn't even notice, but we were gone for a couple weeks, but whatever. You guys didn't even notice. Doesn't matter. This is episode 90.
He's going dark because he's so hungry
This
right
is
now.
a big one for us, and it got actually a lot deeper than I thought it was going to go.
How much fun. Like, I could talk about this forever.
I know you could. From the sound of it just
What
a
if we
second
find
ago, I
out-
thought we were going to be here forever.
This is what I mean. That you get mean when
Honey,
you don't
I'm kidding.
eat.
I
No. It's all
love
caught
you.
now. It's all caught
Baby,
on podcast.
the thing is I can edit this out so nobody hears anything.
Wow, do you hear this?
I
you
am telling them the truth. I am the teacher in this classroom, honey. I get it. See how I just brought it back around? How I could manipulate this and make it sound like whatever I want it to sound like?
guys? Yeah. Beep biddy beep boop bee. I peed out my pee hole.
That's not even how it went.
Boop, 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 I
That's
peed
not
out
even
my
how
pee
it went.
hole.
Oh, episode 90 nuts. This was good. Don't forget to use your swipey wipies out there when it's raining out,
That's
everybody.
right.
I'm going to start saying that if I remember to.
I don't care if people say it, but you also know that's probably not the name for it. You know what I
It
mean?
might be in 50 years. How do you know?
Oh no, you're right. The degradation of our
What
our
if we
English
totally
language.
went on a mission right now to change windshield wipers to swipey wipies?
I mean, look, let's name our company Swipey Wipies.
Now I'm gonna tell you something. What if we started a company of windshield wipers called Swipey Wipies?
Right. Yeah.
And who would if you're in a car store, if you're in like
It's like Kleenex. How everyone calls Kleenex tissues Kleenex.
right. If you're in a car part store or something like that, car part shop, something like that, and you see a box of windshield wipers or this colorful fun box of Swipey Wipies, where you going?
Yeah. Although Swipey Wipies kind of sounds like a paper towel too.
I was imagining like, baby wipes, poop
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
But-
Okay, nuts.
Oh, poop. I saw
Wow.
you brought that around too again.
Yeah.
You didn't lay a
Didn't
a
even
deuce.
mean to.
Well, I could talk about this again. We probably will because there's so much to unpack here. But I more so wanted to focus on the fact that we can't be sure
baby, please.
of what we know because we're all taught from the same pie hole.
I'm begging you,
Okay.
please. It's like
I know.
right when I'm
Here
about
we
to
go.
shut it down.
Stay nutty, everybody.
Hold on a second. Right when I'm about
Stay
to
nutty, everybody.
hold on a second. Right when I'm about to shut it down, you just start going again. And you're going.
Here's what he does. So he's gonna blame that I keep going.
And you're
he's
going,
gonna
you're
go in a
going, you're
circle.
going, you're going. And it just keeps on going. Kind of
So
like
Future Island.
kind of like the plane, not the earth, not the globe, but kind of just keeps going like the plane we live on.
That speaking of that too, like think about an airplane in the sky. You know, are you always dipping down as you go?
Right.
Is your little nose always having to pull down because it's gonna stay?
It's not.
No, absolutely.
Stay nutty, everybody.
Kimpses.
Ba-
Oh,
no.
bye for now.
Kimpses.
I already said stay nutty, so you should have said the other one.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Episode 90.
Bethany
Bethany
and Sean.
and Sean.
We are a couple of nuts talking